So here is a description of the appearance of Rudra, Shiva. Rudra has 11 names, already 11 places we heard yesterday. 11 places are the heart, the senses, the air of life, the sky, the air, the fire, the water, the earth, the sun, the moon, and austerity. 11 places and 11 names. Manyu, Manu, Mahinasa, Mahan, Shiva, Rutadvaja, Ugrareta, Bhava, Kala, Vamadeva, and Rutavrata. 11 wives: Dhi, Dhriti, Rasala, Uma, Niyut, Sarpi, Ila, Ambika, Iravati, Swadha, and Diksha. And what is Rudra supposed to do? He is supposed to increase the population on a large scale. Since he is one of the masters of the living entities. Prajanam asiyat patihi. Prajapati. The master of the living entities. Prajapati. Prajanam asiyat patihi. Prajapati. And Prabhupada in the purport says, Brahma, as the father of Rudra, selected the wives of his son. It is natural that one should accept the wife selected by one's father. This is the Vedic culture, this is the recommendation of the Shastras, that a person should accept the wife selected by his father. Why? Because there is a higher purpose for such family life. That's what the people who follow dharma in entering household life, their household life is called a life dedicated for higher cause. That higher cause is self-realization. Otherwise, the householder life becomes Atmapatam Griham Andhakupam. Prahlad Maharaj describes a householder life where it is like a dark, blind well. Griham Andhakupam. That means a person is going more and more into darkness. From darkness to more darkness. As one lives in the householder life. The ignorance, the darkness, the illusion increases. For such people, there is no hope of liberation. Whereas the ideal householder life, as recommended in the Shastra, is one should advance in knowledge, transcendental knowledge. One should go from darkness to light. Tamasima Jyotirgama. This is the statement of one of the Upanishads. Don't remain in darkness when you've got the human form of life. Go to light. Here light is understood as knowledge, transcendental knowledge. Darkness is compared to ignorance. So the higher purpose of life has to be executed by everyone, irrespective of which varna or ashrama they belong to. And for this higher purpose of life to be executed, the way to enter Grahastha Ashram is a boy accepts the wife selected by his father. Otherwise, this 12th canto says, in Kali Yuga, a boy and girl get married because each one is agreeing to give sense gratification. So sense gratification becomes the basis of marriage in Kali Yuga. Because of that, there are so many broken families, so much disturbance in the household life, no peaceful situation. So without being peaceful, how can one execute the real purpose of life? That is not possible. So therefore, the scriptures advise that one should accept the good instruction of the spiritual master. In the beginning, before one takes any diksha, the parents, or particularly the father, is the natural spiritual master. To guide, to give instruction, to give advice, to warn, to teach, everything. Then there are other teachers. Until one accepts diksha. Until one accepts diksha, the other teachers play a very important role. But after accepting diksha, one should faithfully, very nicely follow the instructions of one's spiritual master from whom he has taken initiation. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, to accept the instructions of the spiritual master as one's life and soul. So that is the importance of accepting spiritual master. That's the emphasis given in trying to follow the instruction of the spiritual master. Then only the disciple's life will be successful. Otherwise, the material world is very, 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 very entangling. We don't realize because most of us have not entered into the worldly life. Before we could enter, we were rescued by the Krishna consciousness movement, by Prabhupada, by Prabhupada's followers. So we do not know what is this entanglement. If you want to know, just talk to anybody who is leading a householder life outside. See how much they are entangled. So many ways. So much so that they don't have time in any condition. They don't have time for even practicing a little Krishna consciousness. They're so badly entangled. Sometimes we meet people, we tell them, just chant 5 minutes every day. One person I was speaking to, he was showing some interest. And I told him, just 5 minutes every day you chant. After convincing him the potency and the power of chanting Hare Krishna. Seemed to be convinced, but he said, very difficult to find 5 minutes of time. What is he doing? And he is not even married. He is working in some project in Malaysia. He says, 5 minutes time I don't have. This is how much they are badly entangled. Very badly entangled. Therefore, it is said in the scriptures, one should have the spiritual goal of life and pursue that goal under all circumstances. Then only there is hope or there is possibility of liberation. Otherwise, human form of life is wasted. Those who are entangled, they are wasting the human form of life. Whole life they are engaged in struggle, and in old age they may think of trying to come out, but they're so badly entangled they cannot come out. Most of them cannot. Some rare case somebody may attempt. But in old age also, as the scriptures describe, they have so many obstacles for practicing spiritual life. Another old person I met, till he retired, he was telling, I am very busy, kindly excuse me, I am not able to attend programs in the temple, even though he stays near the temple in Bangalore. And then he said, after I retire, I will not do any other work. I will only come to temple and do whatever you say. He is not able to chant one round. He says, I will chant 16 rounds after I retire. I said, okay. And then he retired. And after retirement, he did not come to the temple. So once I met him, I asked him, when are you retiring? He said, I have already retired. So then I have not seen you come to the temple. Oh, I am little busy settling. Okay, after you finish, you please do come to the temple. One day he came and said, Swamiji, now I am ready to follow whatever you say. I said, very good. So I said, start chanting one round. And then gradually you increase. You have a lot of time. It's okay. Start with one round. He said, okay. And then time passed by and he's telling, I have a lot of time, but mood is not there. Mind is not allowing me to even chant one round. Then finally he stopped coming to the temple also. So it is very, very badly entangled. They cannot come out. So therefore, it is the mercy of the Supreme Lord and His pure devotees that somebody is able to get out of this entanglement and actually practice spiritual life. Please understand what is our fortunate position. So don't take the instructions of the spiritual master very lightly, or don't take it for granted that now you are very nicely practicing. No, we have to be very, very, very serious, because we have got the opportunity of practicing spiritual life without entanglement. It is just like it is described, somebody is trying to cross a stream of water by swimming across. But if the person has to cross by swimming with two heavy loads round the neck, tied to his neck, he has to swim across. You know how difficult it will be for the person? He may drown, however expert swimmer he may be. Or if he is not drowning, he'll be struggling to simply keep himself afloat. Forget about swimming and crossing. So this is the difference between those who are entangled and those who are not entangled. So please realize your fortunate position, all by the grace of Guru and Krishna, the pure devotee spiritual master and the Supreme Lord together have rescued us, got us out of that horrible entanglement, and have given us a wonderful opportunity, nice position we are situated in to practice Krishna consciousness without the entanglement. Of course, the Shastra doesn't say those who are entangled cannot practice. No, that's not what is said in the Shastra. Even those who are not entangled can practice, should practice, not just can practice, they should practice. And some people are there, wise people, intelligent people, fortunate people again, even among those who are entangled. Somehow in householder life also, they will squeeze out time. They will squeeze out time. And they will somehow chant. Somehow they will come to temple. Something they will do to practice spiritual life. And gradually, by the grace of Guru and Krishna, they will be able to get out. They will be able to get out of entanglement when they are practicing Krishna consciousness as directed by Prabhupada. So, this practice of Krishna consciousness in our fortunate position without entanglement, it is expected that we make the instruction of the spiritual master our life and soul. That means day and night, we heard from Chanchalpati Prabhu's lecture last Thursday. Friday, not Thursday, Friday. Not one moment should pass without ISKCON thought, Prabhupada says. So that is what is expected of all of us. That all the time we are thinking about following Prabhupada's instructions. Whether it is sadhana or service or even living in the community. What are Prabhupada's instructions how to live in the community? We have to follow. So, for following, it begins with, first of all, properly learning. What are the instructions? And then meditating on those instructions. And then learning how to follow. How to follow with the proper attitude, proper seriousness. Then we can expect that we will make advancement. And when you make advancement, anartha nivritti syat, nishtha, ruchi, asakti, all this will follow. Otherwise, we get again stuck up. And we simply have to be satisfied with some so-called spiritual life. Without advancement, the spiritual life, practice of spiritual life, is going to become either a ritual or it is going to become a burden. Either a ritual or a burden. So we should not fall into this trap of Maya. That I am a full-time devotee, I have joined the temple, I have dedicated my life, and then I am mechanically doing whatever is told to do. Then whole life will be practicing, and when old age comes, so many problems. So that is not the way of practicing spiritual life as a full-time devotee, as a dedicated devotee. This is not the way of practice. There has to be advancement. There must be advancement. Without advancement, there is no enthusiasm that can be sustained. Without advancement, there is no enthusiasm. So you want to enthusiastically, very nicely, do more and more service, then you have to carefully follow, very seriously, thoughtfully follow. That's why with heart, as yesterday I was telling in the Ishtagoshti, synergize with the whole community of devotees. Don't be situated in one island all by yourself. There are some devotees who are living in the community, but they have not developed a healthy relationship with the other members of the community. They don't have the 6 loving exchanges with any members of the community. Because you cannot live without having these 6 exchanges. Dadati, pratigrunnati, guhyamakhyati, pruchati. Bhungte bhojayate chaiva. So with whom are you sharing prasadam? Somebody outside. Not sharing prasadam with the devotees inside. How will there be synergy in the community? Not revealing one's mind in confidence to any devotee of the community, but sharing all such things with somebody outside. This is very, very bad. One should closely develop relationship with members of the community within the temple first, and then outside, in terms of preaching, in terms of distributing the mercy that we have got, so that they also become fortunate. They are also rescued from the entanglement. So this instruction, just like here it is said, Brahma selected the wives of his son, his living places and his names. But one other point Prabhupada is telling, the Kumaras did not accept the offering of their father because they were elevated far beyond the business of generating a great number of sons. When it comes to dedicating oneself for spiritual advancement, then one may disobey one's parents. Just like some of us at least would have done that when we joined. Or most of us would have done. Our parents would not have agreed that, yes, my dear son, you can join. Very good. Rarely will somebody say that. But we are justified for this purpose. That we are, as the son can refuse the order of the father for higher purpose, so the father can refuse to maintain his sons in increasing population because of higher purposes. Brahma instructed Shiva to increase the population as one of the Prajapatis. But we will later on see that the kind of population Shiva produced, Brahma told stop. There is no need to increase this kind of population. So that we will see in the next few verses. Any questions? Yeah. He expands. Shiva expands. When he says Shiva is producing population, Shiva is expanding. They are of the same category as Shiva. They are called expansions of Shiva. Because Shiva is not a living entity. So he doesn't produce population like father and mother combine and then they give shelter to another jiva who is born as the offspring. That is not the process in case of Shiva. I explained yesterday, if you heard the class, Shiva is not in the category of Vishnu, Shiva is not in the category of Brahma. Not in the category of the Supreme Lord, nor in the category of Jiva. He's in between. So he's in a position all by himself. So he expands for the purpose of this material creation, for maintenance, for destruction. All the three, he has got a role. Shiva has got a role. Shiva is generally known as the destroyer. But here we see Brahma is telling him Prajapati. He is also responsible for increasing the population of this universe and the beginning of creation. So these are all confidential knowledge explained in the Bhagavatam. Otherwise, what you would have heard so far, Shiva is destroyer. You have never heard Shiva is Prajapati. Has anybody heard? Sudama, have you heard? Shiva Prajapati, responsible for creation? Never heard. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu is described as Prajapati. 3rd chapter. Which is the verse? Huh? No, that is Bhagavatam verse. Bhagavad Gita verse I want. Sahayagnya praja srishtva purovacha prajapatihi. There Prajapati refers to Vishnu. See, Vishnu as Prajapati, Brahma of course is Prajapati, and Shiva also is Prajapati. Otherwise, what do people say? Vishnu is maintainer, Brahma is creator, Shiva is destroyer. So people know only Brahma is Prajapati. But here we are learning Vishnu is also Prajapati. Vishnu gave birth to Brahma. So in that sense, Vishnu is Prajapati. Shiva is producing the Rudras, or the offspring of the different expansions of Shiva as Rudra. He is also Prajapati. Shiva is also Prajapati. Again, in the maintenance, Vishnu is a maintainer. But Shiva also has a role. Vishnu also has a role. Not Vishnu. Brahma also has a role. Similarly, we will see in destruction also. All the three have got specific roles. So this is confidential knowledge. This is confidential knowledge in the Bhagavatam. I'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.